It happened again last night, 3:02 a.m. I didn't even need to look at the clock. My heart was thumping against my ribs like a trapped bird, and my sheets were cold and damp. I stumbled toward the bathroom, my legs feeling like lead, just trying to splash some water on my face and wake up from whatever nightmare I was having. But when I flipped the light switch, that's when the real terror hit. I looked into the mirror, and for a split second that felt like an eternity, I didn't recognize the person looking back at me. I saw the lines on the face and the gray in the hair, but the me was gone. It was just a blank, empty stare. My own name felt like a word I'd never heard before. That wasn't just being tired, it felt like a piece of who I am was just wiped clean. The doctors tell me it's just part of getting older. They say my nerves are a bit jumpy or that I should just try to relax. They make it sound so small, so manageable, but they aren't the ones standing there in the middle of the night. They don't feel that hollow ache in their chest, like their very soul is being drained out, leaving nothing but a shell behind. It doesn't feel like aging. It feels like I'm being slowly erased. Every time my heart starts racing at 3 a.m., I feel a little bit more of my identity slipping away. I'm terrified that one of these nights, the blank, won't go away. I'll wake up, look at the person I've been for decades, and have no idea who he is. I'm scared of becoming a stranger in my own home, a ghost who still has to breathe. If you've felt that cold sweat and that sudden, terrifying "who am I" moment, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just in your head. I couldn't just sit there and wait for the lights to go out. I stopped listening to the experts in white coats who patted my shoulder and told me to take a walk. If they were right, why was I disappearing? If this was just normal aging, why did it feel like a violent assault on my soul every single night? I decided to stop being a patient and start being a detective. I turned my bedroom into a laboratory. I bought the wearable trackers, the rings, the chest straps. I spent thousands on private blood labs that the insurance companies wouldn't touch. I started monitoring my vitals every hour, even in the dead of night. I became obsessed with the data, and that's when I found the pattern they don't want you to see. Every time I woke up at 3 a.m. with my heart hammering against my ribs, my data showed something horrifying. It wasn't just a random spike in stress. Right before the heart rate jumped, my levels of critical brain-shielding minerals didn't just dip, they hit zero. It was like a trap door opened in my bloodstream and everything that makes me me was being sucked out into a void. I call it the mineral cliff. I realized then that the doctors weren't just wrong, they were dangerously ignorant. They look at your blood work during the day, when you're upright and caffeinated, and tell you you're fine. But they aren't looking at what happens in the dark. They aren't looking at the heist taking place while you sleep. There is a biological thief living inside our modern systems. Something is triggered the moment we hit deep sleep, something that begins to strip away the very elements our neurons need to stay connected. It's like a computer virus that slowly deletes lines of code while the screen is off. I started digging into research that hasn't hit the mainstream journals yet. I found whispers of a process that the pharmaceutical giants would rather keep buried. Why? Because you can't sell a cure for a thief they claim doesn't exist. They want you to believe your brain is just a battery that's running out of juice. But it's not a battery. It's a crime scene. And here is the most terrifying part, the part that kept me awake for 48 hours straight once I realized it. That 3 a.m. cortisol spike, that racing heart that makes you feel like you're dying, it's not the enemy. The cortisol is a fire alarm. It is your body's absolute last-ditch effort to save your life. When those mineral levels drop to the danger zone, your brain realizes it is seconds away from dark mode. It realizes that if it stays in that state, the damage to your neural pathways will become irreversible. Your memories will fragment. Your personality will dissolve. So, your brain hits the panic button. It floods your system with adrenaline and cortisol for one reason: to scream at you to wake up. It is trying to wake you up before the thief finishes the job. It is trying to save your identity before it's deleted forever. Every time you wake up gasping for air, it means you just barely survived another raid. Your body fought to bring you back from the brink of a permanent blank. But how many more times can your heart take that shock? How many more nights can your brain survive the mineral cliff before the fire alarm fails to go off? I knew I was running out of time. I could feel my focus slipping during the day. I was forgetting names of people I'd known for 20 years. The blank was starting to bleed into my waking hours. I had to find a way to stop the thief. I had to find a way to bridge that cliff before the next 3 a.m. alarm became my last. And what I discovered next, it wasn't a drug. It wasn't a lifestyle change. It was a biological reset, so simple yet so suppressed that it changed everything I thought I knew about human biology. But I had to act fast, because the thief was already coming back for more. I stayed awake for 3 nights straight, staring at the data until my eyes bled. I finally found it. The mineral cliff wasn't a random accident. It wasn't just getting old. It was something much more sinister, something woven into the very fabric of our DNA. I discovered that every single one of us carries an ancient survival switch. Thousands of years ago, this switch was our greatest protector. If a predator attacked our tribe in the dead of night, this switch would flip. It would instantly mobilize every resource in the body to ensure we survived the next 10 minutes of pure, raw terror. But there's a glitch, a catastrophic programming error in the human code. In our modern world, this switch has become a survival trap. Because of the blue light from our phones, the invisible hum of electronics, and the low-grade, constant stress of our 24/7 lives, this switch is being triggered by mistake. And for millions of us, it happens at exactly 3 a.m. When that switch flips, your body doesn't just get a little jumpy. It enters a state of total biological emergency. It misinterprets the silence of your bedroom as a life or death struggle. In a desperate, misguided attempt to provide emergency energy, your body opens the floodgates. It forces your system to expel your most vital, life-sustaining minerals through your sweat and urine in a matter of minutes. I call it the electrolytic vacuum. Magnesium, potassium, and trace ionic elements, the very things that allow your neurons to fire and your heart to beat steadily, are literally flushed out of your body while you sleep. This creates a sudden, violent void in your brain chemistry. The areas of your brain responsible for memory, logic, and identity, the parts that make you times, require a specific electrical charge to function. When the minerals vanish, the charge dies. The blank I felt in the mirror? That wasn't a dream. It was my brain's hardware temporarily losing its software. For those few minutes at 3 a.m., the me was physically gone because the mineral bridge that held my personality together had collapsed. I was terrified. But then I found the ionic anchor. I discovered that there is a specific, natural way to lock this survival switch. A way to anchor those minerals so deeply into your cells that no amount of 3 a.m. stress can flush them out. It's a solution so simple, so fundamental, that it makes the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry look like a scam. They don't want you to know about the ionic anchor. They can't patent it. They can't charge you $300 a month for it. They'd rather keep you trapped in the cycle of 3 a.m. terror, selling you sleeping pills that only mask the symptoms while your brain continues to erode from the inside out. I couldn't stay silent. I had to document everything. I spent months refining the exact protocol to stop the 3 a.m. flush and reset the survival switch for good. I call it the 3 a.m. brain flush. It's not a drug. It's not a complicated lifestyle overhaul. It's a biological reset that takes less than 2 minutes before you hit the pillow. But I need to be honest with you. Not everyone's survival switch is broken in the same way. Some people are just starting to experience the mineral cliff. Others are already deep into the permanent blank phase, where the damage is becoming harder to reverse. You need to know where you stand before it's too late. I've put together a short, clinical-grade assessment, a 3 a.m. risk quiz, to help you determine exactly how much of your identity is currently being flushed away every night. This quiz will show you the state of your survival switch and give you a personalized path to locking it down before the next 3 a.m. alarm sounds. Don't wait until the person in the mirror becomes a total stranger. Click the button below, take the assessment, find out if your brain is currently being flushed, and learn how to use the ionic anchor to save yourself.